not performing well, and a lot of times when you're in this, I guess funk would be probably a good word, that where we are, and we're not playing as well as we should, and we're trying to fight our way out of it. And a lot of questions come into, are you seeing effort? Are you, are people quitting? Are you going to make any moves and rosters? And all those questions get asked, and they're legit. They're legit questions. There's no doubt. But at the end of the day, I learned this a long time ago. When I first came into this league as a coach, I was with Herman Edwards, and a lot of times it's about being a pro. And being a pro as a coach, and being a pro as a player. These are all things that we have to do. So that part of it, to me, those questions, I have not seen. The quitting or things of that nature. What I have seen, though, is I saw a team that practiced very well last week. Really had a good week of practice. We were honed in, and then we went out there and played, and we made mistakes, and stuff that we didn't make during the week, that we made errors on during the game, and they capitalized on it, and to a point where we still had an opportunity at the end of the game to win. But my message to the team was, the last 2 weeks we had the ball at the end of the game, we have an opportunity to win, but the things that are done beforehand are really taking the game away from us. It shouldn't really come down to that. Now, I don't want to not give credit to the teams that have beaten us, or not give credit to Indianapolis, because they took advantage of everything. But at the end of the day, my goal for this team is to make sure, hey, listen, other teams are going to make plays, but let them make them by winning, meaning that, hey, you're going to get beat. We all know that in this game. But at the end of the day, let's not our errors, what I'm saying, or, our maybe level of focus, or whatever you may call it from a player, let's not put that in jeopardy where people are going to capitalize. And if we can do that and go out there and play, I think we can live with those results. But I think right now we have to get ourselves where we're focused during the week, and where it's carrying over onto the field, and it's not doing it on every play. It's like, the first half, was a poor first half, defensively. Special teams, our assignments are good, but our penalties are poor, that changed the game. Offensively, the push on the line of scrimmage, what I'm saying? We want to get more of that. We had 10 plays of 0 or -1. And we knew what to expect. We worked on it. And these are the things that we have to do a better job of. And, we got, injuries, and, but that's something that shouldn't affect really, what everyone's job is. And, that's the one thing that we're going to work on and come back. And, we got a tough opponent coming in. I know people are going to look at the season, and I don't blame them for looking at it, but, my focus is, hey, what do we got to do, to get this back to where we can appreciate, because I think, one of the things I think that I've always said in this league, I don't know if people realize how hard it is to win games each week, and it takes a level of focus for every single play to give yourself a chance to be successful. You slip a little bit, or your mind's not right, or something throws you off a little bit, you're going to get exposed. But, there was a lot of effort out there, a lot of hustling, but, there was obviously, some errors. And they took advantage of it, and I think that's why we are where we are today.
We talked about miscommunication throughout the season. Sometimes, for one reason or another, defenders will jump outside the scheme. Did the film reveal any of that, or was it the same stuff that's been going on week after week?
No, I just think, not as much. Just basically, I came out here last week and I said, hey, listen, we're going to work on these walkthroughs, what I'm saying, and work on not necessarily assignments, but, hey, alignment, technique, then assignment. And, a lot of times we weren't, where we needed to be, or technique-wise, either getting push on the line of scrimmage of a team that we knew was penetrating, or alignment-wise when they broke the huddle to be, where we needed to be from an alignment standpoint. So, that's where it is.
Are guys willfully not running the coverage that are supposed to be running? You know what I mean? Like Gibson was talking to us in the locker room today and said, guys, are just running wild. Yeah, in the secondary, in the coverages.
Yeah.
So is that a willful thing on some guys' part, or is it confusion as to what they're supposed to do, and how does that happen, this late?
Well, a lot of times there's a level of focus of, the formation and where something has to be that locks you into a coverage, okay? So we'll communicate, a call, but there still has to be an awareness to the formation, okay? So we missed that. We missed another one where, we were worried about a split that was giving us an issue, okay? And then all of a sudden, he's not in that split, but we're worried about the issue, and now they gain separation. We are in a zero coverage. There's one tight end on the field. We know exactly who has that tight end, and we don't get on him. So those are the things that happen. So when you say willfully, meaning, hey, are they busting it or no? I mean, talking to the players, I mean, they're trying to get it. We got to, help them clear it, figure out, why is there any confusion on that one? Hey, we got to do a good job during the week of making sure the splits, what routes they're running out of what splits, where we've done a hell of a job before with. We've got to make sure that that's communicated and known. And, the problem is if you make a mistake, let's get it corrected and let's go on. Let's not push and try to get ourselves out of it. One mistake, and when you push, leads to another mistake and another mistake. And that seems to be in my conversations with the players, what happens. They make a mistake, they try to make up for it, they just need to go ahead the next play and do their job.
Specifically, the 53-yard touchdown in the first quarter to you, Brown. What was supposed to happen there? What was the?
It should have been in 3 deep, so we should have a middle third player. Excuse me, a third player to that side, which covers that play.
It looks like your cornerback on the other side dropped. Was the corner on that side of the field supposed to do the same?
Yes.
So that's just not understanding the call, or?
Formation, communication.
How would you assess Taven Bryan's development so far? He only played 11 snaps.
Yeah.
He did a couple defensive ones.
I think if we could, be more specific for the game, I think the general thing, I think obviously right now we're not winning football games, so it's very difficult to go. I think that he's trying, he's working. I think there's a lot of things he'll tell you he can do a better job of, and there's some things that he's done well. So, we'll just keep progressing him. Obviously, we need him to play well, and we're just going to keep coaching him as hard as we can.
Of any of the struggles that your team could have at different position groups, is it surprising that the secondary, with the talent and sort of depth that you thought you had, that's sort of sprung loose as a problem?
I would think, I don't go into it saying that, hey, listen, I think this would be a problem for this. I think, so it's hard for me to comprehend or answer a question. Obviously you don't expect that, I think the only time I want to make sure that we're, obviously very clear that you get concerned about is when someone hasn't been on the team and he's been being brought in from the outside, that, sometimes you just have a feel for guys and you don't have to say much, but when you bring someone new into the fold, and when I say new, I'm talking about someone who hasn't been with us in camp, then I think you have to go back to, making sure that every call is right, and that's why you have, the syllabus. I give you an example, like, there's a time where, teams obviously track the other opposing team's calls and what they have, and, so when I was coaching a line, our guys they would just say certain things that they all knew just amongst each other, that would happen. But if we put someone new in that spot, I'd have to tell them, hey, listen, we've got to go back to our normal calls and what we're doing, because this is the way he's taught, and he's not going to know all the in and outs of all that stuff. So, that's what we have to do.
Why is Barry Church having such a hard time in lining up and also?
I think it was that one play. I think Barry's. He took ownership to it, and he knows he has the tight end. There was one tight end on the field, and he just lost it. For the play. I mean, it's not the greatest way to explain it. You know, you don't want to do that, but that's the truth.
Do you have an update on Linder?
Yeah, Linda's going to have surgery. So we're scheduling him for surgery.
Torn ligament or?
I mean, just knee surgery. I'd rather just keep it like that because I don't really have all the ins and outs to like the labels, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a knee surgery.
But
Out for the season?
He'll be out for the season. Yeah.
Hornets returned yesterday, obviously 2 scores, over 100 yards from scrimmage. Did it look like the same Leonard on film as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the things, like I remember before the week was, I said, you know, it's different when you haven't been doing anything, then you get in there and you practice the 1 week. So, you know, I think that, you know, it's a good feel. I think we could have gotten, you know, more push from him at times. I think, you know, he'll look at a couple plays where he wanted to go more vertical, I'm sure. But, you know, like I think you said it best, you know, over 100 yards offense and 2 touchdowns. So, you know, we're happy with that.
Do you think this has been a humbling experience for Jalen, or do you think it'll be an eye-opening experience for him in terms of all the talking he's done and kind of how it's turned on him for his season and maybe this team?
You know, Mark, I don't know. I think, you know, that's a question that I can't answer for a player. You know, but Jalen's obviously a good football player, and, you know, he'll have some really good plays, and sometimes he'll have some bad plays. You know, he's only in his 3rd year. I think that, you know, I think it all depends on how you take it. You know, I think and I'm expecting Jalen to take it the right way and build on it and come back and get ready to play this week. I mean, that's the only thing you can do. And, you know, if you don't see those things, then obviously that's a problem.
You didn't make any defensive changes during the bye week. Any chance you make any this week, personnel?
Well, we're going to see who we come back. We're going to see where AJ's at. You know, we'll know a little bit more on Wednesday. You know, again, we'll look at, you know, what we have to do, you know, evaluate it again as coaches, you know, go through it, you know, how we can, you know, trying to find the $1 million answer to how can you do it well during the week and then not go out there on Sunday and do it. So I think we'll look at all those things, and not to a point of, you know, we would do that the same whether we win games or lose games, you know, of what we have to do. But obviously we're not doing a good job, and it's not just one person or one thing. You know, it's like, you know, the challenge for this team is, hey, can we go out there and play at, you know, at our best level for 4 quarters, you know, and see where we are, and let's see, you know, if someone can, you know, beat us physically, beat us on plays, beat us on those things, you know, and then, you know, see where it goes.
Going back to Jalen, you posted something on social media this morning about how people are going to miss him when he leaves Jacksonville. Do you care about that? Is it something that you like address with them, or do you guys sort of?
Well, I was just made aware of it, you know what I'm saying, from Tad, and, you know, I think that's one of the things that I spoke to the team about prior to not knowing, you know what I'm saying, what was that, is that, you know, it's people are going to come after you, and rightfully so. You know, I mean, you know, I don't sit here and expect, you know, soft questions or the woe's me. I don't, you know, and that's, I think that, you know, if you're sitting there and you don't feel like you're going to be attacked, we're all going to be attacked because we're all part of what the performance has been on Sunday. So rather than focusing on the attacks, let's focus on what we can do. And when I say attacks, I don't mean it in a way of like, hey, this is bad. This is what happens, you know, in a performance business. And you've got to be able to handle it and put your focus on what are we going to do as a team to change it. And the only way to change it is to win football games. And we're not doing that right now. And we've done it week after week after week. Now, are there some good things? Are we getting closer? Yeah, but I'm going to talk about more of we're not playing to our ability. That's it at the end of the day. I'm not coaching, or we're not coaching to our ability, all of that. We're part of it too. And I think when you're maybe for me, because I've been through this before, you know what to expect, and even though you try to explain it to the players, you know, it was probably too late when I got there today. I think it came out earlier, and I didn't know that. But, you know, you have to do that, and you have to handle it, because, you know, when you have success and everyone's telling you all these good things, it's easy. It's great, you know. But at the end of the day, all of a sudden, when you don't live up to those expectations or play to them, I'm talking about as a team. I'm not talking about an individual. And you don't, yeah, people are going to come. People are pissed. You know, there are people that support this team, that expected great things from this team, and we're not performing at that level. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you're not strong enough to understand that, that's not going to help the team, get on the right track. Anyone.
10 sacks is kind of tough to replicate. You did it twice last year, and certainly you don't expect those numbers on a weekly basis. But what's been the difficulty getting the pass rush going? And last year against Indy, you had great success. This year, yesterday wasn't hardly any pass rush at all, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think that, we've got to continue to do things to free our guys up. Teams are doing a better job than they did last year. We're not sneaking up on anyone. The ball's coming out quick, things of that nature. We haven't put ourselves in some better situations, where they're going to have to hold the ball a little bit longer and do those types of things. I think, yesterday, obviously we gave up the big run for 53 yards, on a 3rd and 1. But, if you can shut down a run game and maybe put them, to those passing situations, that can help you. So I think there's a lot of things that go into that, and not to take credit away from Indy, because I believe it's like the 4th game in a row where they haven't, given up a sack, and, they put a lot of emphasis on, getting the ball out and, doing a good job protecting, and they have a good offensive line.
What's your confidence level in Shatley filling in for the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, that's why he's on the team. We had him on the team to be the backup center. We feel that we can win with him as a backup center, and we expect him to go out there and play winning football for us. Yeah. Anything else, injury-wise? You guys, everyone's good?
Oh, Flowers?
Go ahead.
Flowers.
Yeah, I think he's going to be all right. It's nothing, it's just a little bit of tendonitis, at the end of the day. Lorente will know more about during the week. I don't think Meeks will be back, this week. Anybody else?
Leonard came out fine?
Yes. Yep, he didn't report anything.
And is Reed your backup center now, going forward?
Right now, yes.
How would you evaluate the way Flowers played in the limited snap?
There's a couple things I really liked, and then, you got to kind of, in the run game, I thought he did some good things. Pass pro wise, I knew his, once I found out his knee was bothering him, then, it's kind of tough to evaluate. But, we were happy to get him in there, and Josh's foot, So, both those guys right now, we'll just see where they are. I expect them to be out there on Wednesday, but, we'll just see.
Walker.
Josh Walker. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
All right. Yep. No problem.